Welcome to Bible Story Channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel before starting the video. In the ancient land of Canaan, nestled between the shimmering Mediterranean Sea and the rugged hills of Judah, lay the bustling city of Jericho. Its towering walls and fortified gates were a symbol of strength and security, a testament to the ingenuity and might of its people. For generations, Jericho stood as an impregnable fortress, guarding its treasures and secrets from the world outside. But whispers of change echoed through the arid desert winds. A formidable force approached, led by Joshua, the successor of Moses, who had guided the Israelites out of Egypt's bondage. The Israelites, with their tales of divine intervention and miraculous victories, stirred both awe and dread among the Canaanite cities. Their God was said to be mighty, capable of parting seas and raining down manna from heaven. The people of Jericho watched anxiously as this mysterious band of wanderers set up camp just outside their walls. Joshua stood at the edge of the Israelite camp, his eyes fixed on the towering walls of Jericho. He knew that this city held the key to the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey that God had pledged to his people. Yet, as impregnable as Jericho seemed, Joshua harbored no fear. He remembered the words of the Lord, who had promised to deliver the city into his hands. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert, Joshua encountered a mysterious figure. Clad in radiant armor, with a sword gleaming like lightning, the stranger stood before him. Joshua approached cautiously, his hand instinctively reaching for his weapon. "Are you for us or for our adversaries?" Joshua demanded, his voice steady, but filled with the tension of impending battle. The figure's eyes blazed with an otherworldly light. "Neither," he replied. "But as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come." Joshua fell to his knees, recognizing the divine presence before him. "What does my Lord say to his servant?" he asked, his voice filled with reverence. The commander spoke, his voice resonating with authority. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy." Joshua obeyed, his heart pounding with anticipation. The commander then revealed God's plan to conquer Jericho, a plan unlike any Joshua had ever encountered in his years of warfare. For 6 days, the Israelites were to march silently around the city, with 7 priests carrying trumpets made of ram's horns leading the way. On the 7th day, they would march around the city 7 times, and at the sound of the trumpets, the walls of Jericho would collapse, and the city would be theirs. As dawn broke on the first day, the Israelites assembled. The priests took their positions, the Ark of the Covenant at the center, a symbol of God's presence among his people. In silence, they began their march, the only sound being the shuffling of feet and the occasional blast of the trumpets. The citizens of Jericho watched from the walls, their initial curiosity turning to unease. What kind of strategy was this? No battering rams, no siege towers, just silent, persistent marching. Day after day, the procession continued, each lap around the city building tension and anxiety among both the Israelites and the Jericho inhabitants. On the 7th day, a sense of anticipation hung thick in the air. The Israelites arose at dawn, ready for the final act of this divine drama. They marched once, twice, 3 times around the city, the tension mounting with each circuit. On the 7th lap, the priests raised their trumpets high. With a unified blast, the sound of the ram's horns filled the air, reverberating off the walls of Jericho. The Israelites let out a mighty shout, their voices joining in a deafening roar of faith and obedience. For a heartbeat, there was silence, and then, with a rumble that shook the ground, the mighty walls of Jericho crumbled into dust. The Israelites surged forward, entering the city and claiming it as their own. The promise of the promised land, long awaited and often doubted, began to unfold before their eyes. Jericho was just the beginning, a foretaste of the victories and blessings that lay ahead. In the ruins of Jericho, amidst the clamor of victory and the dust of fallen walls, stood Rahab, a woman whose faith had set her apart. A harlot by trade, but a believer at heart, Rahab had hidden the Israelite spies sent by Joshua. Her courage and faith in the God of Israel had saved her and her family from the destruction that befell her city. Rahab's story intertwined with the grand narrative of Israel's conquest. She and her family were spared, a red cord hanging from her window, marking her home as a place of refuge. Her act of faith and bravery found its place in the lineage of Israel, for from her line would come kings and ultimately the Messiah. The tale of Jericho's fall is more than a story of battle. It is a testament to the power of faith and obedience. The Israelites, led by Joshua, demonstrated unwavering trust in their God, following his unconventional instructions to the letter. The walls of Jericho, symbols of human strength and ingenuity, crumbled before the divine will, reminding all who witnessed that with God, nothing is impossible. As the Israelites moved forward, city after city fell before them. Their victories were not just military conquests, but divine fulfillments of promises made to their forefathers. The land that had once seemed out of reach, a distant dream during their years of wandering in the desert, was now becoming their reality. In the aftermath of Jericho, Joshua's leadership shone brightly. He was not just a warrior, but a shepherd, guiding his people with wisdom and faith. Under his command, the Israelites continued their campaign, each victory reinforcing their belief in the God who had delivered them from Egypt and brought them to the threshold of a new life. Years passed, and the memory of Jericho became a cornerstone of Israel's history, a story passed down through generations. It was a story that reminded them of their identity, their faith, and the God who had called them to be his people. The ruins of Jericho stood as a silent witness to a moment when the impossible became possible, and a people found their destiny. Through the sands of time, the story of Jericho continues to inspire. It speaks of a God who is faithful to his promises, a leader who trusted beyond reason, and a people who, despite their flaws and fears, embraced their calling. The fall of Jericho is not just a historical event, but a timeless reminder of the power of faith and the triumph of divine will over human barriers. In the annals of history, the walls of Jericho are more than just stones and rubble. They are symbols of the enduring truth that with faith, courage, and obedience, even the mightiest obstacles can be overcome.